If managing your commercial cleaning business feels like managing a herd of cats, then this video is for you because you're going to get how to get cleaners to do what you want at scale. And let me add this, actually, this just hit me, without babysitting. Because in order to actually scale your commercial cleaning company, you actually have to have time to build systems. You have to have time to make sure your sales team is doing what they gotta do. Clients are being taken care of. Make sure your financials are good. And obviously, if you put systems in place and follow what we talk about in the links down below, then you don't have to spend an enormous amount of time managing it. But if you're having to babysit cleaners, then you're gonna be stuck in your business for a long time. While at the same time, you know that you have to find a way in order to get people to do what you want without you having to constantly lord over them. So that's what you're gonna get in this video. I'm gonna show you 3 different S's. They all start with an S. I love alliterations. They're gonna help you scale your business while managing tons of cleaners simply. And I guess, you know, saying tons of cleaners, I'm wondering how many cleaners it would take to actually equal the weight of a ton. I don't know. Let me know. It depends on how big your staff is. Sorry, I'm feeling a little facetious. But before we dive in, if you don't know who I am, my name is Matt. I'm a 7-figure commercial cleaning CEO. We started our company from 0, built up to 7 figures and then beyond, and now I help you do the same thing. So let me be clear that if you just gloss over this video and you don't actually take the time to learn about why these work, what they are, and how to implement them, then your commercial cleaning company is going to struggle with scaling all the time. It's gonna feel like a continual grind, and maybe that's how it feels right now. You add a new account, you gotta add more employees, oh no, or more subcontractors, oh no. And that just shouldn't be the case, because really what it means is if you're not able to deal with more people doing the right things inside of your business because you need them to do the right things, then you're really just rotting from the inside out. So here we go, and this first one is gonna be something that if you watch YouTube videos of very big CEOs, they are constantly doing this. If you watch Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk or any of the big ones that are out there, they are going to continually be using one specific technique, and I'll explain to you why it works and how you can go about it, but that is using story. And you might be thinking, stories? Why stories? Well, let's think about it. These aren't bedtime stories. What do stories do? So let me actually use a story on why this actually works. So one of my mentors years ago, early on in business, shared a story with me about how he found the power of using story. But he used this example. There was a very successful business owner in the restaurant industry in New York City. And this person, it was some type of burger joint or something, but he had to get all of these minimum wage employees to align with the high standards he wanted implemented in his business. Because if he has to pay people tons of money per hour, then he doesn't make any money at all. So he has to make this thing work with lower wage employees. So he would sit down with the employees and intentionally share some sort of short story with them. We're not talking like, you know, Lord of the Rings, huge novels kind of stuff, but using vivid imagery, something that elicits a gut response in order to get them to act. So here's an example of a story he would share. So he had one employee he sat down with, and he said, I think his name was Mark. Mark, you know, cleaning this front of the house area is very important. Let me tell you what I actually saw happen the other day. I saw someone bring their 3-year-old in, and there was some ketchup that was left on the floor. Not saying that it was you, Mark, it must have been someone else. But that little kid picked up one of the fries and dipped it in that ketchup on the floor and put it in their mouth and ate it. And what was the response of Mark in that? Like, I felt it just saying it. It's like, ew, right? Like, I don't want to be that guy that leaves ketchup on the floor that a kid's gonna dip his French fry in, and Lord knows what's in that, right? So story right there, it engaged that visceral response inside of me, and I hope you felt it a little bit too. But in that employee, you guess what? That guy, Mark, cleaned that front of the house like it was his own business because he was led by that emotion from the story. And that's ultimately what stories do, is they spark the heart. And I'm going to talk about God here for just a quick. You take the story of Jesus and what he did whenever he came here to earth, right? And all that he went through and taught and suffered. And those stories are told over and over and over again today and still bring so much vibrance and life to the church. And so I'm going to give you 3 parts to a story that you can quickly implement and use inside of your commercial cleaning company to quickly give them pictures that matter, imagery that will draw them in, so that whether it's in your training process or when you're trying to influence change in your company, you're sending out a message to everyone. How do you get them to actually hear it and follow their heart through it. Because it really boils down to we do what we feel like doing, not what we know we should do, right? Like, again, there's the whole point of the Bible. All right, so a story has 3 parts in order for it to be effective with your staff. The first is you must paint the scene, right? Let's go back to the story that one owner or CEO had shared, was here in the front of the house. It was a little bit messy, right? Just a scene, the kid already had an idea of it. He was looking at it. Whatever the scene needs to look like, you need to draw someone in, give them some sort of picture. And then you have what are called stakes. So what could go wrong and what's the cost of that going wrong or implied, right? And it was a little bit messy and there was like this ketchup on the floor and I saw a family walk in. Whoa, feel some tension, right? You get a sense of the stakes and what might about to be happening in it. Now, in our scenario, it can be something a little bit different. For example, I tell our cleaners all the time about the importance of having a clean closet. I talk about how whenever I do go on quote walkthroughs or my team does, that a lot of times clients will take us there and open that closet and say, look at this mess. Do you think they even clean? Right? So there's the scene and there's the stakes, right? Those people are going to lose their job because they didn't keep a clean closet. There's other things too that are going on, but that's definitely not helping. And number 3 is the self-solution. Think of this as the actual application of the story. And what you're doing with this application is making your staff the heroes. So prospects take us to dirty closets. Then we say, you know what? But that's not us. Because this is what we do to make sure it's taken care of. Are you sure you can take care of that? Does that make sense? And just like that young man who was going to keep the front of that restaurant clean from all the ketchup on the floor and everything else, now our staff make sure that the closets are taken care of as well. So wherever you need to communicate a change or something significant inside of your business, use story to build heart, to get your team to really care about the importance of cleaning. Because if they really care, they're going to fill in the gaps. Ultimately, a sign of lack of skill or a lack of heart is where you have to have so many rules that no one can really keep up with them all. And that's ultimately what babysitting looks like. But if you have good kids that you're babysitting, they actually care and are nice, then they don't have to be watched over as closely. And you don't have to have everything spelled out as far as how they should behave. It should just be understood because there's a story that they think of when a situation arises or when they start work. And that's why Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, and big business leaders use stories because they influence people en masse. Okay, the second S, this is going to be structure. Simply put, structure is just paths to follow. They're trained to follow. So they don't got to figure everything out. They just know that if this happens, then I got to go to this person about it or talk to this person about it. They need context inside of your company instead of everybody just being told, hey, you got to go to the owner for everything. And one of the key pieces to structure is going to be promotions. Or another way of putting it is just a hierarchy. At what levels of the business are they able to advance to? What are the triggers for those things? How are they awarded for getting there? How are they recognized? And how can they actually stay with your company for the long term? And even though you can have structure in all kinds of other ways through communication channels and what they're supposed to have on site that is consistent, whenever an employee knows that there is some sort of path of progress forwards, then they're going to stick around a lot longer and care more about what they're doing. And if your company is below $1 million a year, then don't worry, you don't have to have, all these managerial titles and everything going on inside of your company and having to pay all this money for promotions. They simply just want to feel like I said before, they're having some sort of sense of progress. So do they get to wear certain colors of uniform? Are they approved to be trainers? Do they win any sort of awards? Do you have any sort of ceremonies or any appreciation events for them? You want them to feel that progress. And it's that sense of progress, and you could replace the word promotions for progress right there, but it's that sense right there that is the primary driver for them behaving the way that you want, because they're going to target their behaviors for those directions. Now, the other one is just simply consistent reinforcement. This just means what kind of patterns are going on, what kind of communications happen at the same time of day or at the same days of the week, what the conversations are structured the same. It's not like they're trying to figure something out with every single conversation they have, but there's a regular flow of meetings and accountability. There's the same supplies that are used at most or every single one of your buildings. There's the same pattern of cleaning that they do at the buildings. It's that structure and consistent application of that across all of your company that allows people to get into line and to stay in line as they stay in your company. So if your commercial cleaning business has people that clean buildings one way versus people that clean buildings another way, you need to decide, how are we going to approach our buildings? Now, yes, I know buildings are custom, there's differences between them, but you want to make their process for completion as similar as possible. That's what allows people to cross over and support each other, and for you to bring new people in and send them wherever they need to go, and them have as little extra things to learn, because all those little extra deviations cause drag and friction on your business, which slows down growth. And honestly, we could spend a 4-hour video on structure, or even longer really, but these are the two main things that you can take away right now to apply to your business and make them either better or add them in. And then our third S is simplicity. Simply put, simplicity scales, fancy fails. You want to stick with something that is so simple as possible, so that even a third grader could implement it if at all possible. That way, again, it removes any sort of inconsistencies or things that can go wrong. For example, can you simplify the equipment that's being used to clean facilities? Do you really need 4 different types of dusters? Can you get it done with 1 or 2? And especially when it comes to your marketing and sales, are you trying to do all these really advanced marketing tactics that you've heard about on YouTube? Or really, shouldn't you just focus on maybe just doing 2 of them really well? Just start with 1, get that 1 working very well, then add another one. And I actually struggle with this because whenever you build with the principle of simplicity, you're able to scale so much more quickly. And what happened to me is it got boring. And what I did when my company was pretty much running on its own and making plenty of money because we had built it simplicity, it was just boring to own. Instead of doing more of that and just scaling it up the way that we had done, we started experimenting with all kinds of things. And then what happened? Our growth slowed. And so what we learned and returned to was boring businesses are the ones that you want to own. If it has all kinds of problems and challenges and things that are really complicated in it, then it might be fun for a little while, but ultimately your personal life and your family life is going to pay for it. And when it comes to your employees, getting them to actually behave and act in the ways that you want to, expressing things in a simple way. This is why stories work so well, because it distills everything down to a specific point that has an emotional impact inside of them. And that emotional drive is what fills in all the gaps as they progress throughout your business and keeps it from becoming complex, right? So whenever you give instructions, whenever you're implementing change, whenever you're rolling out a new system, make sure that it's improving the simplicity inside of your business. Now, just because you bring in a new system doesn't mean that system might have some complicated things on the back end. You still want to try to reduce it down to how simple it can be operated and ran. And the irony of that is it's actually a lot more work to simplify things than it is to just take things as like a version 1, which is okay if you got to start with something, but just to take things as they are and just say, we're going to deal with the complexity and hire an extra person in to deal with this aspect of the business. And no, you don't have to do that. The business owners at scale focus an enormous amount of energy on simplifying and executing with their team in a simplified way. So when you use story structure and simplicity when leading your staff and communicating with your staff and scaling your staff, you're going to be able to actually scale a lot faster and stop that internal rot that happens with high turnover and people not doing what you want and upset clients and all kinds of issues that happen. You know how I talked about how the simplicity piece of this is so important, but it can be very difficult? Well, in the links down below, I give you the entire systems that you need to use, and I've done the work of simplifying it down for you. So if you want to get on the path to 7 figures, check out the links down below. I hope this video was a blessing for you. Again, my name is Matt, your 7-figure commercial cleaning CEO. Please like this video, share, please subscribe. And until next time, keep building.